industry in the years of 1993 to 1994, where I was forced to have unprotected sex. I was brutally raped on the set when I contracted herpes in a 6-man gangbang, on a dirty ranch, unsupervised, on a dirty picnic table. I was forced and I was coerced to do sex acts that I did not agree with. I was also a drug addict and alcoholic, much like many of the other people working in the industry. I also was jaded, mentally ill, and traumatized from all the pornography and sex that I was subjected to, all the brutality.
Ah, yes, rape. Being in porn was rape. This is a classic one. The California Penal Code defines rape as sexual intercourse with a person, not your spouse, without their consent through force, violence, coercion, duress, or the threat of bodily injury, or where the person being allegedly raped is incapable of giving legal consent because they're a minor, or because they're intoxicated or drugged, or because they're so mentally ill or mentally deficient in a way that it's obvious that they can't actually give consent. You see, here's where Mrs. Lubben has a problem. She has to get around the fact that she actively, willingly sought employment in the porn industry, which by and large did not use condoms, booked a shoot, showed up, shot the scene, signed a contract and model release in the presence of others, acknowledging that she did not have diminished capacity, and that she was giving all necessary consent and waiving all liability. She did the scene, she was paid, she cashed the check, and then she didn't file a police report. So how to get around that? This is where Shelley goes all in. Short of being a minor, which obviously she wasn't, she now claims that virtually every other element which might possibly negate her consent was present. She was forced, threatened, drugged, drunk, mentally ill, with no evidence of anything, just her word 15, 16, 17 years later.
In fact, there is evidence that contradicts Shelley's claims. Guy DeSova performed in Shelley's gangbang, shot at a movie ranch outside Los Angeles in 1994. Guy remembers Shelley as an enthusiastic performer who dominated the scene.
She was very aggressive in the scene, very aggressive, and so were the guys, but in no kind of dangerous kind of way, in any kind of threatening way, or harmful where anyone was hurt or forced to do something they didn't want to do. That absolutely did not take place. She called the shots, and then the guys, including myself, were just going through what we were to do, and there was a director involved who was basically shooting it and letting it fly. He wasn't really even directing the scene. For the most part, he just let it go, and she carried it. She was not drunk or anything. She was capable of doing what she was doing, coherent. And I was on very good terms with her. I was shocked to even hear that, she would make accusations like that. Because when we last seen each other, it was on friendly terms. I'm bewildered by this. I don't know where she got the change of mind and attitude and why she's even doing this. I don't know, I just feel maybe she's just trying to profit from it.
On the movie set, it's absolutely horrible and degrading for women. In the background, you can hear women throwing up. You can hear them crying because it hurts. You know what women do before they do a scene? We go outside with other porn actors. We lay down lines of meth. We take big bottles, chug that down, and we're ready. They beat the girls, they feed them, force feed them drugs. Drugs are always provided. You can get Vicodin as a huge drug, Xanax, alcohol, meth, cocaine, heroin is very big. And after a day of working with nothing but filth, bodily fluids, an unclean set, because all of the movies are done on private mansions, so there's nothing regulated about this industry.
I understand that she did some movies, but I was in the industry for 6 years, and I was on 300-plus sets. Never once did I see women crying or vomiting or being force-fed drugs. I don't know where she did pornography, but if she did, if she performed in LA, I don't believe her.
In 1983, I started in the sex industry, not in porn, but in the sex industry. I was just about everything there is to be in the sex business. I worked with pimps, but not under pimps. I worked as a sex surrogate. I worked in-house. I worked out call. I did everything. And so my experiences were similar in that way to what Shelley Lubben is speaking about. I came in 94 and she came in 93. The business was a business. 16 years in this business, I have not only never seen anyone force-fed drugs on set, drugs are not allowed on set. And I'm not saying that there might be fringe groups out there. There's now with the internet, there's thousands of people out there. But I was in this business in 94 when she was here. And when someone showed up high on the set, they got kicked off the set. If she was doing drugs on the set and someone didn't know, that's her business.
I made my first movie in 1984, and here it is 2010, almost 2011. I'm making another movie next week, and I'm sure I'll be making movies in 2011. And I've been on about 700 sets. I've done about 1,000 scenes, 1,200 scenes, give or take. And honestly, in all that, I've had 10 experiences where I afterwards went, ew, never again with that person, that director. And even those, I would never call them rape. I would just call them, the guy was a jerk, I'm just not working with him again. No one ever kept me on a set. It's not possible to hold somebody on a set against their will. And nowadays, with cell phones, the LAPD would love to have a phone call from some young woman in a closet on a set going, please, please come get me now, please. Oh my God, what a field day they would have with that. It doesn't happen. We don't need to force anybody to be on a set. They come every day from the bus station going, please, please, pick me. No, pick me.
There's such a small group of people that if you continually force people to do something they don't want to do, you will be run out of the business because this will pass around quite quickly, you know? People get word of any fucked up shit that happens in porn, and they tell everyone else. It's like a little high school, you know? So if you're doing this to people, you're not going to be in business for much longer.
Here's a quote from Shelley. Let me tell you about the people in porn. They're mentally ill, they're physically diseased, and drug infested. So every time someone watches porn, they are viewing mentally ill people have sex. Just imagine if we went right now to the Los Angeles County Mental Department and we went and filmed everyone having sex and then sold it. So basically every emotionally charged word that you can think of, the typical fundamentalist, alarmist view of pornography.
LA is full of people coming out here desperately seeking a job in the entertainment industry, in front of the camera, in front of a microphone, on stage somewhere, and no one calls them mentally ill.
I think it's convenient that every person in pornography is mentally ill and slutty and a slew of words meant to move people instantly emotionally, because so much of what she does is based on the show. There's nothing fact-based, or she doesn't just say, well, anyone who actually needs help, come to me and I'll help you. Everyone needs help. Everyone, if they disagree with her, is mentally ill.
If she felt victimized, she should have walked off the set. But I get the impression that she didn't walk off any sets. I think she took her check just like any performer would after a performance, and I think she cashed it. And, she did what she had to do. If she doesn't feel good about it now, or if she's looking for someone to blame for how her life turned out, I don't think that's the adult industry, and I don't think it's her parents, and I don't think it's anybody but her. I mean, we all have free will. We're all adults.
When people enter porn, the devil doesn't make you do it. And if you want to get Christian about it, God created the devil. So where is that true intent that you have within yourself coming from?
In their mind, porn is rape, porn is discrimination, porn is violence. For them, sex is violence. They're very narcissistic and closed-minded in that they can't get past their own experience, that maybe someone else has a different experience of the same event, of the same thing. Maybe my worldview is not the worldview. And the idea that my truth is the truth is something that 3-year-olds believe. When a 3-year-old closes his eyes, and so since I can't see, I can't be seen. And so if this is so true for me, anybody else who thinks differently clearly isn't seeing the truth. They clearly need more instruction or more leading down the garden path to get to the truth, because clearly, if you knew it was true, you'd agree with me, because I don't want to examine my viewpoint. I don't want to believe myself to be prejudiced. I don't want myself to believe myself to be close-minded. I don't want to believe myself to be insane. I'm sorry. That's a value judgment. Misinformed about my attitudes. And I don't want to have to think that other people have different experiences and that theirs are valid too.
She makes it sound like we don't have a say in the matter. She turns it into rape. She says that she was raped, that we're all being raped every time we show up to set. And I'm just saying, I mean, there would be a lot more rapists, I think, if that were the case, because look how easy we make it, you know? We drive ourselves there, we give you notice when we're going to be there, we sit down on the makeup chair so you can make us look exactly how you want us to look. It's really a good gig for rapists, I think. But then, you know, there's the whole object of having to pay for it, and there's the whole thing where she can just say, no, I'm not showing up. I mean, it kind of gets in the way if you really want to be a hardcore rapist. But definitely, if you just want to, like, rape on the side, that's easy. That's an easy way to go.
I'm 51 years old. I came of age in the 70s during the flowering of the feminist movement, and I grew up in Berkeley, California, where the debate about the role of women, the role of men, the role of sex, and sexual liberation was really common. Fast forward 35 years, and we're still battling upstream against the idea that women are delicate flowers that need protection from men, that sex is still something men want and women have, or that sex is something men do and women are. And still, we are fighting the battle that women have sexual agency of their own. They have their own desires, their own needs, their own wants, and their own ways of getting them. It blows my mind.
I don't know where she gets any of this. I think that the problem that Shelley Lubben had was that she was so high on drugs that she just made bad decisions for herself, but I don't understand why she doesn't own it. I mean, I've made some bad decisions in my life, absolutely. I mean, there's been plenty of times where I turned right when I should have turned left, but I own it. I own it. It's me, and it's part of who I am now.
It seems like her whole platform is built on the idea that we don't operate at the same level as men. I like hear how she learned how to be a servant to her husband and not to look for love from him. She goes to Daddy God, and then Daddy, it says right here, goes to him and tells him to tell her that she's pretty. So she doesn't have to look for it because the big man in the sky takes care of that shit. It's amazing to me that this shit...
And anybody who tries to tell you they love it, watch this. I love it. I love having sex. I love being a porn star. Yeah, I'm a pretty good actress, and so are they. They're lying to you.
Well, the idea, the notion that no woman in porn can enjoy sex is just a lie. I've personally been present at and assisting in hundreds of real female orgasms in my 26 years in the business. So it's just a lie. It's just a falsehood.
We're very sexual people. I mean, sure, there's a few that come and they don't like to be touched and they pretend and they're coming an hour before you're even near their pussy and stuff. And those people get weeded out, like Shelley. I mean, this is not a woman who belonged here in the first place. But I just want to say this. She was a woman when she got here. She was no child. At 25, 26, you're not a kid anymore. You can't use this as an excuse. You made the conscious decision to come to porn and bring whatever friggin' drug-addled, disease-ridden crap in your own head and body, and you brought it to us. We didn't bring it to you. We were okay without you. And when you left, oh, lo and behold, we're still okay.